Hi everybody, how are you? Hope everything's good. We're getting very nostalgic 1990s today as we look at this, my Ibanez S Series. So this is my Ibanez S Series or Sabre Series from 1997. These guitars were produced originally in the 80s, still made today. If you go on the Ibanez website and have a look, you'll see there's loads of different models on there. Although I've got to say at this point, it is quite hard to find lefties on the Ibanez website. Doesn't look like they make left-handed ones of these anymore, or maybe they do on special order or something like that. But like I said, quite hard to navigate round, and if you search left-handed, nothing comes up, so it's a bit iffy in that sense. Like I say, this model is from 1997. I can't tell you the exact model number, though, because there's so many different ones out there with different pickup configurations and bridge configurations and stuff like that. What I can tell you is that this is a model with 2 humbuckers and a single coil and a lock-in trem. It's got a mahogany body, maple neck, rosewood fingerboard. The tuners is quite funny, isn't it, when you have a guitar with a lock-in trem, because the tuners, when I restrung this and cleaned it up, they're really nice and smooth. That's because they rarely get used, because you always lock it off and tune everything down here. The trem is a Ibanez low TRS trem, which is all right. We'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. And the pickups themselves, they're the V1 and V2 in the neck and bridge, and the S2 in the middle, which is a single coil in the middle. These are like Ibanez's own pickups that they made at the time, kind of like budget DiMarzio's, if you look at it that way. But it sounds great, it feels great, very thin neck, super thin body on these things. There really is nothing to it. If you look at the edge there, obviously fattens out towards the middle. It's extremely light and very comfortable to play, and balance wise is really nice as well. When you hold it just with one hand here at the cutaway, it's really a well balanced guitar, and it is a bit of a, obviously made for shredding and speed and stuff like that. Nice jumbo frets on it. I've always really liked, they've got big old fat frets on this thing. So yeah, I really like it. It's a guitar I haven't played in quite a long time. So back in 1997, I was actually given this guitar. I won it. It was the first guitar I was ever given. And I'm going to brush over this story quite quickly. I was Guitarist Magazine's Young Guitarist of the Year in 1997 when I was 16 years old. And the prize, sponsored by Headstock in the UK, was an Ibanez guitar, which was great, you know. It wasn't this guitar, though. Of course, it was a right-handed guitar, which was a John Petrucci, the original John Petrucci guitar, signature guitar, which I assume is a very nice guitar. I even had it. I even took it home. It sort of it stood there for a couple of months at the end of 97, and I couldn't do anything with it, of course. So, of course, they provided me a left-handed guitar, and this was what they gave me. I'd never really played many Ibanez guitars, don't really play many of them since. They're not really my cup of tea in general, although I did use this guitar so much, of course, going through, loving guys like Steve Vai and Satriani and all those guys. So it did get a huge amount of use, especially in cover bands I used to play in and stuff like that. I haven't used it in a long time, and it was really quite nostalgic getting it out of the case. It was in quite a bad way, and the thing that really surprised me was that The trem up here was so high up. The action was so high, and I thought, God, did I really used to play this guitar? So I spent a day or so last week just sort of cleaning it all up, bringing this down, trying to get it in tune, which, as you know, the best of times with guitars with locking trems can be a real pain, but it was all right. I got there in the end. Still having a bit of a problem with it today, but it's sort of been a little bit hot and cold outside, so that's probably not helping at all. I never changed anything on it. Like I said, it's all original. I have to say, the frets, I've been using this stuff recently. It's actually a kitchen thing for cleaning ceramic hobs and pots and pans, and I found it gets frets really, really clean. It's called Astonish, which is like a kitchen thing. Let me make this clear. This is not a paid promotion thing from Astonish at this moment in time. It's just I was trying to find, because not all the shops are open at the moment, trying to find something I could clean the frets up, and I've used it on a few guitars actually, and it's really good. Brings them up great. So highly recommend Astonish. So yeah, it's it's a really nice guitar. I don't want the Ibanez lovers out there to hate me at this point, but they are, of course, a little bit soulless, these guitars. You know what I mean? Like, you try and get the best out of them, but it's not my cup of tea. However, I'm saying this, but I've had a lot of fun playing this guitar today. I've probably overindulged on the whammy bar, as I tend to. I want to just actually mention the whammy, the lock-in trem. It doesn't sit very well. I've got a couple of other guitars with really good Floyd Roses on, and this one I've had a lot of problems. That whole thing of you go down with it, it's kind of all right, but when you pull it up, it just sits, the pitches out slightly when it returns. So, but again, it's probably reflected in the price, because these guitars aren't really a whole lot of money, especially these days. Like I say, you can still pick them up. So a lot of memories with this guitar. And like I say, I mean, I don't want to sort of make it sound like I don't like it, because I really do. But it's one of those that's a lot more sentimental to me than anything else. Okay, that's nearly it for today. A couple of things. The interviews that I've been doing on the channel here, which have been a lot of fun, and there's some good ones coming as well. They're also available as Apple Podcasts. If you haven't got time to sit in front of a screen and watch them, you can get them as podcasts. And this week's recommended listening, while I've got this guitar out, it made perfect sense to have an album by Joe Satriani, of whom I love, of course. And I could have gone with the obvious choices like Surfing with the Alien or Flying in a Blue Dream, which is one of my personal favorites. But I actually have chosen an album that came out around the time that I got this guitar, when I was really, really into it all. And that album is Crystal Planet. And it's a brilliant album for so many reasons. That, of course, it's full of all the great melodies and great tunes. But that album has a very live feel about it. It really sounds like a few guys standing in a room playing together. And I think it was one of the first albums that he did that really sort of felt like that. And of course, he's done many other great ones since. There's some particularly good songs on that album. I've been listening to it recently, actually. And I'm pretty sure it was the first album to use the, I'm going to get a little bit geeky here, to use the Dunlop 535Q wah pedal. It was the first time I'd ever heard it. I was like, I had this really deep sort of throaty sound that I'd never heard, and I was like, what is that? So yeah, I'm a huge lover of wah pedals, and that was when I really sort of heard that wah pedal for the first time, and then obviously went on to buy more than one. So yeah, that's it. I hope you've had fun today. I'm going to pop this thing back in its case, and I might see it again in another 20 years or so, and I will see you on the next one.